Welcome to the Bill Wyland Gallery. We're so excited to have you here, Robert Andia. It's truly a pleasure and an honor that you're representing the ancestors here with your amazing photography. Please tell us a little bit more about your Hawaiian background.
Actually, I'm not Hawaiian, but thank you. But raised in Hawaii, born and raised. My family's been in Hawaii since 1929, actually. I was raised originally in Waipahu and then Hawaiian community in Aliamanu. When I was younger, at 15 years old, I moved up to the North Shore of Oahu. That was more just based on surfing and such, so I lived up there, surfed quite a bit, got really involved with that, living at Pipeline, on the beach at Pipeline, also living up at Sunset. So kind of got into that whole North Shore, surfing the big waves and that kind of thing. But throughout it all, I was an artist, and the legends of Hawaii, a lot, when I was growing up, when I was young, I was always told the legends of Hawaii. I had many kapuna who would take me and teach me about the legends. I was very much into Hawaiiana, so that's how this all kind of came about from a very young age.
Well, tell us about the inspiration behind the 15 photographs that make up ancient Hawaii.
Okay. Basically, like I said, from when I was very young, I was an artist. I was a painter and illustrator and did Hawaiian print shirts and such like that. But my inspiration when I was younger was Salvador Dali, Frank Frazetta, Roger Dean, so I had kind of a fantastical nature with my art. When I was very young, I was drawing these legends. I would read the legends just like I would read the Lord of the Rings and draw stuff from the Lord of the Rings. So when I was younger, I was drawing the legends of Hawaii. So it all started at a very young age, and throughout my life, I became involved in photography. And at a certain point, decided to say, okay, well, I can make a photographic campaign about this. I can make a photographic series about this. The reason for it was because I noticed that through the Hawaiian community I grew up in and my friends who were Hawaiian, I noticed that the Hawaiian culture seemed to be kind of stagnating a little bit. The story wasn't getting out there. So through this, through the photography that we can do today, which is very dynamic and vibrant, it seems to have an ability to reach out to people. And the reason for it is actually to perpetuate the Hawaiian culture, to perpetuate and promote the preservation of the culture, the sustainability of the culture, and to help people recognize what the Hawaiian culture means and how significant actually the ancient Hawaiian culture was, because it truly was one of our most advanced cultures in ancient times.
What I love about your photography is people that have been coming into our gallery, they feel the connection with the ancestors, they feel the connection with the land, they feel the connection with everything in the aloha spirit. You've captured that in your photography.
Thank you.
And people are really captivated by the story behind it. They want to know more.
Okay.
And for example, Pele. Tell us more about Pele here.
Sure. As far as the whole series go, it was not meant to be anything historic or iconic. The stories have been written, the history's been told. So I wasn't trying to retell anything to make any iconic image that represented that akua, that ancient, profound ancestor. So what I did was, instead of representing the akua, we decided to represent the essence of the profound ancestors. So for instance, the pieces encompass a lot of the stories together, and they combine a lot of the legends and the myths together, and the essence of their, their kinolau, or what they represented in nature and such. The Pele piece especially, Pele's an interesting character because she's very vibrant and fiery, no pun intended, passionate. She had a lot of negative stories about her, but she loved the Aina and she loved her people. So the one thing I wanted to do was present all of the ancestors in a positive light. So with Pele, what we did was, I was reading an obscure story that referred to Pele as she who shapes the land. So therefore what I did was I took Pele and had her actually shaping the land, providing for the sustenance and the Aina, right? Creating the Aina. She's not the creator of it, but she helped to shape it, to organize it, right? So you have her with the newer lava, right? Going into the pohoihoi, the older lava, right? And then even within that essence is the Ohia Lehua, where she's represented in a story about Ohia and Lehua. So you have several different pieces of Pele in here. The way that we shot it is shoot the backgrounds first, then shoot the models in studio. Once we pull them in, we can determine the lighting, then shoot all the elements after, right? And then piece them all together in Photoshop. So this is all photography, pure photography. About 400 actual pictures in this image.
Wow. Well, your work has been so popular that the Honolulu Museum of Art had an exhibition, and it was the most attendance they've ever had there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, for a single night attendance, it was pretty big. That was pretty amazing to me. I'm a fashion photographer. I've been a fashion photographer for most of my life. Advertising photographer. I worked all over the world, so I've never really done fine art. So we were recognized prior to one of our cultural advisors. We had 6 Hawaiian cultural advisors on the production. And one of my cultural advisors had met with Honolulu Museum of Art and told them they should take a look at what we were doing. I got a call from the director of Honolulu Museum of Art and met with him. And prior to us even completing the final edit on the project, he had actually asked us to be in an exhibition there. We opened on April in 2015, and the audience was over 1,500 people,
Wow.
which is fantastic because the whole hall was just cluttered. It was brilliant. There was so much excitement. We had a lot of the models there, so they were able to talk with the people and introduce themselves, and it was just a wonderful exhibition. So that really started off the whole thing, and then I met up with a friend of mine, Bill Wyland, who I hadn't seen in many, many years, and Bill loved the artwork, so he put me in the Wise Gallery over in Honolulu first, and then upon opening this, he brought us in as one of the premier groups, so we're really excited to be here.
Well, thank you so much, Robert, not only for elevating photography to museum level, but for perpetuating Hawaiian culture. Mahalo nui loa.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Aloha.
Aloha.